Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Yes, I finally decided I'm going to jump back in with some GT7 action, but I need to get some seat time on the game. So what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks is jumping in and doing the daily races. But rather than doing like one per video, I'm going to jump in and do all three of the daily races in one nice slightly bigger video, if you will. So if that sounds good, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed. Leave a like as well. We're getting very, very close to 10k subs on the channel at the moment, and we are starting with a good one. Lexus LFAs here at Fuji. We're lining up P3 on the grid, and I am very much looking forward to driving this thing. Make sure I don't jump the start. Lights out and away we go. Because, yeah, this thing obviously sounds absolutely incredible. Greatest ever sounding road car? Let me know down in the comments below. But anyway, down in towards turn one. Oh, there's dive bombs aplenty. I've been hit from behind. There are cars everywhere on my radar. And, well, that's what happens when you try and race road cars on Gran Turismo. And I've been pretty much shuffled right back to the rear of the field off the start then. So pretty chaotic one. The top two seem to be able to break away quite nicely there. But yeah, daily race A. As that guy is picking up penalties and ramming people all at the same time. Daily race A, for those of you that don't know, is usually the shortest race. It's often a sort of a single make race or uses road cars. Daily race B then is a little bit longer and usually uses race cars. And then daily race C is usually about a 20-25 minute race. Again, often, usually, again, in the race cars here. Obviously, the BOP is I've gone for a very, very big dive bomb. We will just make it slow down, though, down the inside of the guy in front. And we are, therefore, back up and into P8 then on what has been a wild lap one then here. I mean, I would pay to watch LFA racing. I don't know about you guys. I think Lexus need to make this an official championship in the future because, well, so the LFA is up there in kind of dream car garage. You know, it is supercar royalty. I think it's safe to suggest now. Some of you as well might have noticed I also raced in cockpit cam again. I watched back one of my old Gran Turismo 7 videos. I did a couple at the end of last year. But I made quite a few over the course of 2023. And I forgot actually that I was using cockpit in this game way more now. And actually really enjoying it as well. As we'll claim a couple of freebies up towards the start-finish line. So yeah, I'm going to be sticking with the cockpit cam. I quite like it on this game. I think it's one of the better cockpit cams in games at the moment. As I got someone else. Well, I thought he might be steamrolling in behind me there, but looks like he's all got it stopped. But yeah, back then to P6. So not the worst lap one in the world. We lost a few places. But I certainly think we can get back in the fight in front. But yeah, got to be very, very careful. You know, if you are planning on driving this car on this game, it's really, really, I mean, it's a road car on sports hard tyres. It is rather loose and lively, which makes, obviously, driving it rather fun. There's a few little nuances I've already learned to try and, obviously, extract time out of it. Short shifting doesn't really work. It is slower pretty much all the time, but again, it's Gran Turismo. You've got to be so smooth with your throttle and brake application as well. Obviously, this thing does come with ABS, luckily, so you know, it's very much just try and straight line brake as best as possible and then steer only really when you feel you've got all the speed scrubbed off. But yeah, throttle application, this thing's definitely quicker without traction control. Traction control really just cuts way too much of the power way too often. But you really want to roll on the power nicely. Any kind of wheel spin is going to slow you down. But, of course, this car as well, pretty famous in real life, wasn't it? For being one of the first road cars that actually needed a digital rev counter because an analog one wouldn't keep up. So you've got this fantastic, I mean, we're in a game, of course, but gamer-style rev counter, which you might be able to hear in the background, actually beeps. So it beeps at 8,000, that's where it thinks is green, which I would assume means optimal. It's not the case in Gran Turismo. Then it goes orange at 8,500, and then you get all the way to 9k, and it finally goes red there. So that's obviously where I'm shifting up. So almost, well, just nudge the grass slightly Down into turn 1, but gathered it up. I think the game thought I was going to crash into the guy in front there, down at that turn 1, because it ghosted him momentarily, potentially trying to anticipate that I was going to overshoot, but luckily he was able to gather it up quite nicely in the end. But yeah, like I said, I want to do more Gran Turismo. Unfortunately, I can't do the current Manufacturers or Nations Cup series because Saturday and Wednesdays are the 2 days a week I'm really busy, which is a shame. But we'll try and hopefully move some stuff around as we get into the real seasons in towards the spring and summer. So hopefully I can do some of those again. Might stream them live here on my Twitch channel on a Wednesday evening and sort of Saturday if I get the chance. But yeah, we'll wait and see as to how that all pans out. As all the Swiss guy in front of me. A little bit of a mistake there down into the chicane. It's a horrible little chicane you really got to try and get right. So he's going to try and go defensive on me then up the hill. Can we go all... Can't go all the way around the outside there. He's really going to slam me out. I wondered if I was turning in slightly early towards an apex that, of course, there was a car on my inside, but I don't think that was the case. I think this guy just desperate to try and force me out. You know, the Max Verstappen next defending there. But nice wide line out of the final corner. Ride that throttle nice and tidy. And surely, I mean, the slipstream in this thing I would assume is going to be quite powerful as we make our way back down towards turn 1. Clearly he's worried about it because he's trying to break the draft as we head over the start-finish straight. Of course, massive front straight here, but we're going to be reaching speeds at around about 175 miles an hour. So we're going to have to brake slightly early, ready for turn 1. As again, he just moves around a bit in the braking zone. Probably could have got away with being a little bit braver down there at that first corner, but we've got a lime green LFA as well, a little bit further behind, who is kind of watching this and potentially sensing an opportunity. Oh, big slide there. I mean, I'm not sure the LFA in front is the colour I'd want it in, but clearly he's a fan. As we try and make our way through 100R, can we get a run to the inside? We'll show the nose, but again, we'll think better of it. Let's just see if we can try and force the error, make my life a little bit easier by not really having to go for the move and kind of finding a window for us to kind of snatch it from the car in front. You can still see, oh, that's late, that's late. And he moved around as well there. I do apologise. We will wait for him. Because, say, he kind of moved around, and I tried to go to the inside to avoid him. But that's now going to turn this, what was a 2-car scrap, into a 4-car scrap. As there's more aggressive defending going on in front. And suddenly, yeah, this gets very, very chaotic. We've got to kind of wait our turn now, I think. So you can see Swiss guy there, and the Italian almost, I think there was a tiny bit of contact. Can we get a good run? Oh, out of the final corner, though. One more lap to go. We're very, very wide on the way in, but you can see they're all squabbling. They're going to be 3 wide out of the final corner here to start the last lap here from Fuji. And, well, we've got all pick of the slipstream at the moment. Which one do we try and take it off of? Will we get enough speed to make our way back down in towards turn 1? This is brilliant racing. This is why I wanted to get back onto Gran Turismo 7 this year. But will there be chaos down in towards that first corner? LFA in the middle broke very, very early. We'll try and get round his outside there, give him a bit of a pinch on the apex, but not able to put the throttle down on the exit of the corner. And now the pole in front is going to make some quite substantial gains. Don't know why he's braking so early into turn 2 on the inside. So we'll go clean past him. And we are through and back up then into P7. Would love a top 5 finish at the end of this one, as well. We've got to wait and see these two duking out in front. There goes the pole down the inside. So are we going to see another aggressive defense? The Italian gives up the place for now, but we'll try and get the run off the corner. I've had a horrible run though. I'm going to be vulnerable to the Swiss driver behind me again. You can still see if they can continue to go in side by side. There is every opportunity. So yeah, this Swiss guy is not confident on the brakes by the looks of it. We're constantly making gains in the braking zones, but can we just keep it measured through these final few corners? I think the Swiss guy might have safely moved himself back up. Can we try and see if we can get a run on the Italian? Have a look down the inside. Oh, it's a little bit of a cheeky maneuver. Oh, he's ran himself wide though. So just kind of showing the nose there has granted me that P6 once again, but making our way through the final couple of corners, unless the pole has a nightmare here. Don't think we're going to be able to get him. And out of the final corner then, from P3 on the grid, we lost a lot of places at the start. I mean, we're kind of trying to avoid the chaos down at turn 1, but it's going to be P6 here in the first race here on Daily Race A. My first race of 2024 on GT7. Let's head into race B. Well, race 2 then brings us, well, we're staying in Japan, but we are heading to its other famous circuit. This time around we're here at Suzuka for another 5-lap race in the Group 3 cars, and I've opted for what is potentially looking like quite a rogue choice, the Mazda RX-7 Vision. Don't really know why, it's just a car I own that I thought looked quite cool, and to its credit, a bit like the LFA, it does sound quite good. So fingers crossed we can try and have a good race here. Starting down though this one in P13. We're in quite a competitive lobby. There are some A+ drivers. I think that's got to be the goal this year. See if we can try and make it to A+. But luckily for this one, we've got a rolling start, which should mean that there's slightly less chaos as we head in towards turn 1. Nice and easy through that first corner as we had a Porsche and a Nissan GTR there. Two of the very, very popular choices on Gran Turismo, and I'm immediately going to get turned. I could see he was looking for it down the inside, and I've been absolutely taken out of this race pretty much immediately. Well, race 2 then was an absolute bust. We basically just spent 5 laps driving around at the back by myself, which was not my idea of fun or particularly entertaining for you guys to watch. So we're diving in with race C. This is Group 4 cars here at Catalunya without the final chicane. 11 laps, so as I said, yeah, about a 20-minute race. And yeah, like I said, jumping in, starting this one at the rear of the field. Hopefully that means we can avoid carnage down at turn 1. But looking at the entry list, it is basically the McLaren 650S Spec Cup. There's a lot of us in this car today, and instantly going to ruin this car for anyone that likes it. The steering wheel, you're off centre. I don't get how Gran Turismo messed that up, so I'm going to try not to look at that as best as possible over the course of this race. But yeah, we're just going to be kicking around at the back early on here, just trying to settle in and see if we can try and get, you know, maybe a top 10, something like that, by the end of this one. But yeah, I think get the choice. I don't know if it's just race mediums or you get the choice of race hards as well. There might actually be a required pit stop as well in this one. So we're going to find that out as the race goes on there. A couple of Ferraris up as well in the middle of the field. Always nice to see. But yeah, it looks like the start here actually fairly clean and tidy. I don't know what car that is, the green one, the Spaniard in P13, but he seems to be taking most of the beatings at the moment, as, yeah, just making our way down the bottom of the hill there. The other Spaniard in P15 just kind of waiting in the wings. Must admit, I am always still astounded but just how good the graphics are here on Gran Turismo 7. They, you know, Polyphony, Sony have done a fantastic job. Azor, I wanted to have a look down the inside of the Spaniard there, but he's gone down the inside of absolutely everybody. And yeah, I don't know again what car that is going to end up in some trouble. It was the Genesis as we make our way up through the final couple of corners, and I've just been shouldered into the gravel for some reason. I hope he realises it wasn't me that put him off the circuit. Why am I the one that keeps getting bullied today? And I get a half-second penalty for track limits as well. Someone's already pit. That seems like an awfully brave strategy to be employing here. The Citroen GT car. But we're in trouble again. What on earth is going on between these two in front of us? One of them's got a penalty. The Genesis somehow has avoided one there, despite the fact that I think he was trying to... I think he's basically just decided he's taking out every McLaren he sees, as well. Apparently we're doing the classic layout suddenly here. We'll take the slowdown and try and get back on the road. That was rogue choice of track usage there, but we have survived. Oh, yellow's out. Someone else potentially with issues. The pit lane now here. Very, very difficult to navigate, so maybe someone's not had fun there. Have we got a... Yeah, we have got another one in the pit lane then, so maybe they ran into some trouble trying to get into the pits, but yeah, definitely therefore is a mandatory stop in this one. So we might go sort of lap 5, lap 6. We might try and extend it a little bit longer if possible. More yellows. I wonder, is it just bringing out yellow flags every time someone pits because they're coming off the racing line or something? I don't quite know what kind of the rules are on Gran Turismo, but yeah, I think we're definitely quicker than the McLaren and the Genesis in front of me. There's still a lot of battles as well going on a bit further up the road, so I don't think we're down and out of this race. Not quite like race B, but I want to get in the fight. I want to fight other cars. Come on. All over the back then of this McLaren car once more. See, last time I was this close to him, he managed to fire it off and take the Genesis out that's still in front of the pair of us. Are we going to be able to find a clean move then? Potentially back down in towards turn 1 if we can carry a little bit more speed through the final corner. We've still got more and more cars pitting in this race. I am watching the gap to the Austrian behind. It's coming down every single lap, so he's definitely quicker than me at the moment, but it's approaching 150 miles an hour as we make our way back down in towards turn 1. Really wish there was a 150 meter board in towards that first corner, because you've got to brake before the 100, and of course, yeah, the 200 is just far too early to really even use as a reference point as we make our way through the long flowing turn 3 though. The McLaren's putting up a pretty good defensive fight at the moment, but I feel like, yeah, it's just going to take one little moment. We've definitely got the pace over him. You're able to romp back up to the back of our, well, driver in the same car as myself. So, yeah, clearly we have got some pace. It's just about where we can utilise it. We often get a better run down through turn 8 there and up in towards camps, as you can just see, able to get much, much tidier towards that apex. And can we try and have a look up down the inside then at the top of the hill? No. Whoa, he brakes way earlier than I was expecting though. I'll give him a little bit of a kiss there at the rear, but no harm, no foul. Now you can see trying to break the slipstream, so we'll have a look to the inside. I think he's just trying to give it up, to be honest, not putting up any kind of fight there. So we'll get down the inside. We'll move back up then into the top 10 then of this race. But look at that battle going on in front. But can we close into the Genesis that put me in the gravel trap? There's a McLaren now that seems to have been involved in a bit of a scrap. There's a drop between myself and the Genesis in front, and he's got a 1 second penalty. So we're going to get a lot closer to the Dutchman then by the time we get down the end of the back straight. But is it worth pitting now then? That front left tyre starting to look very, very worn out on the MFD. Just debating, yeah, well obviously I think it's probably worth it now, isn't it? We're seeing a lot of our front runners peeling into the pit lane as well. There we go, yeah, everyone pretty much in front of me. We'll follow the crowd. We'll be a bit of a sheep here as we try and get tidy on pit entry. Make sure we don't cut on the start of it. Okay, so it's only medium tyres then. We obviously don't need fuel. Apparently, looking at the dash, we are using a lot more fuel than everybody else in this race. But yeah, don't have to worry about kind of tyre strategy in that regard then. So really surprised, actually, that we were seeing some drivers box on lap 1, because they're going to be in real trouble by the end of this, and won't have gained much. You know, it's not like they'll have much of a tyre advantage early on in this race, as finally our car shows up in the box. Yeah, a new fresh set of tyres on it. Must admit, I do like the McLaren orange. It is a beautiful, beautiful colour on this car, but making our way then back out of the pit lane. We are going to be back out down all the way in last place then. So, yeah, the Spaniard has got the undercut on me, but we are going to be on fresher tyres to the end. Let's see if we can get back past the Spaniard then once again. Make our way through Campsa corner. Actually leaving it in third gear that time. Not sure it really helped me though. So can we have a look down the inside? Oh, he brakes pretty sensibly there in the end. Sometimes it's horrible when you think someone's going to brake early in front of you. You kind of have a look down the inside, and I think they often then assume that you're just dive bombing them, but it's actually that you don't want to ram them into a corner. So yeah, occasionally you kind of get that miscommunication, and Gran Turismo definitely seems like one of those games where that is far more likely to happen. Fingers crossed we don't get a half-second penalty for that. We might have been right on the cusp of track limits out of the final couple of turns, but will we be able to get the slipstream run then back down in towards turn 1? We've only got 4 laps to go of this race, so the clock is ticking as the McLaren actually dips a wheel on the grass. We'll have a look down the inside. He's going to try and outbrake me down at turn 1 and does just like get it slowed down there, ready for the apex of turn 2. But you can see all this battling. We are losing out a little bit of ground to those cars in front. I'm still eyeing up that Genesis further up the road. Well, I mean, he's got 4 McLarens behind him, so he's under vast amounts of pressure late on in the day, but really don't want a wooden spoon in this race. We'd like to at least beat someone, especially, you know, with the disaster that was race B. As he brakes way more than I was expecting there. Luckily we didn't spin him out or anything like that in the process. Gave him a handy little push off of the corner. Come on, man. Got to get on with it. We've got to try and close it to those cars in front. I think we're going to have to go for it here. If he can't make it through, as... Whoa, how much braking does he want to do there? I mean, it's really just a blend. I'm just dabbing the brakes trying to get the weight over the front. But, yeah, we're going to have to go for it. Down the inside we'll go. And yeah, we'll complete the move then and up into P15 once more. Kind of had to nudge on and off the brake there just to make sure we got to the inside. We didn't overfire it into the corner, but still another couple of McLarens in front. That Genesis has been able to gain some time with all these battles going on behind. Oh, 2 laps to go. I can see that Genesis further up the road now having to go defensive. Come on, if they can really battle hard towards the end of this, there might still be an opportunity. We're taking a tiny bit of time at the Spaniard in front of me, but I don't think it's enough to make the difference at the moment. We are pushing towards the end of this race, but this is kind of what it's going to be early on. We are going to struggle against a lot of the other drivers just because I haven't played Gran Turismo properly in such a long time. There's a bit of bumping and bashing further up the road though, but yeah, if we can obviously get better by playing the game regularly, maybe, you know, I've always wanted to try and get an A+ on Gran Turismo as well on my license. I think that'd be really cool to have. And obviously, you know, if we try and compete in some of the, you know, World Tour events, not like a top level or anything like that, but would be nice to potentially be able to score some big points there. But yeah, Genesis then has lost the 1 spot. The other McLaren surely is going to be thinking about breathing down his neck with just 1 lap to go. But yeah, the guy behind me, I think, binned it through the final corner. And I'm going to get a half-second track limits penalty. So I think, well, there's still a lot of drama going on in front, but we might be in real trouble here as well. Genesis has gone. McLaren there as well, running really slowly, so we'll claim a couple of freebies. And now suddenly we're all over the back of the Spaniard as well. And I think... Has the Genesis just taken out the McLaren again? I think, well, they've suddenly dropped back a load, so I don't know if he was letting him by or whether the Genesis, yeah, really is on a must-destroy all McLaren kind of warpath today. Spaniard gets a torrid run out of the final corner as we set a new personal best of the day. Maybe helped by those track limits ever so slightly, but down the inside on the run in towards someone then, suddenly... The option for a fairly decent result is possible here as McLaren trying to hang it around the outside. We'll do the same though through turn 2. And we'll have the inside for turn 3 then. Don't allow a switchback through the corner. Keep the car towards the apex. But is this penalty still going to make the difference? Can we try and just pull out a couple of extra tenths through this middle sector that potentially means when we get round to the penalty slow zone, we can afford to lose the time there. I mean, he's surely going to try and have a look down the inside when he goes for it. We might try and leave it for him and try and get a run off the corner. Yeah, that gap now up to almost 0.7 of a second. So there is a real possibility here that we might get actually quite a decent result when all is said and done. Ferrari in front of me seemingly dropping back slightly as well, but making our way up through camps for the final time then. It has been quite a decent little race here. As you can see, yeah, we've got the gap. We've got the gap on the McLaren. He's still trying to have a look down the inside, but he is not going to be close enough by the time we get in towards this final sector. Just hang on to it now through the final couple of corners and see if we can just keep him at bay there, surely there's going to be nowhere to try and look for a move. Unless I bottle it now in the final couple of turns, we are going to come through for a P12 in the end. So a few places gained in Daily Race C there, and this has been really, really good fun. Absolutely going to be taking on more of these races in the future. A little bit wide out in the final quarter, but it's going to be P12 then when all is said and done. They're rather happy with that. Like I said, limited practice, and, you know, haven't played GT7 in such a while as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon with more sim racing content. A massive thank you to all of my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters for their continued donations to help my work. These things go much further than I think a lot of you ever realise, and allow me to continue making content full-time here on YouTube. So if you want to support me from as little as £1 a month and be featured on all of these end clips, either click the join button next to the subscribe or head over to my Patreon. There's a link down in the description.